Live. Hello and welcome. This is Dawn Sarah, and this is week 21 of the Empire Building Mastermind Hangout. And this week we are talking about masterminding and
Wow.
the mastermind, what it is. So if you are joining us for the first time, welcome. And I'll let you know how to get in on the inside if you're watching from the event page. There's a link that I just posted on the event page that says, basically, here's the link to join on the inside of the Hangout. And I put some people's names down there, but if you can go below their names, you can just click on that link. I can post it again as well, just to let you know how to get in. And hopefully you'll be able to join us. And otherwise, just hang out, listen from the outside. You can tell us where you're hanging out from. I like to know those two things. Where are you hanging out from? What are you reading, or what are you drinking? And I'm drinking water today, so this is my water cup. Oops. Somehow just there you go. This is my water cup. I'm drinking water, so I'm very happy. Also, my Tesla cup.
Aw.
And yeah, so we're going to get started right away. Hopefully you'll be able to join because I'm excited about this week's topic. And we've got lots of experts in the Hangout already to talk about masterminding and the mastermind. And we'll talk about what the differences are between those two, my opinion, and we're going to maybe have a heated discussion or maybe not about exactly what the mastermind is, why you would want to join a mastermind group, and how to get started. So that's what we're going to do today. Welcome everyone. I see on my screen, I see Robert McPhee, the expert in masterminding, and Mark Backbad. So hi Robert, welcome.
Hey, Don. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, super.
I can barely hear you. I hear Mark loud and clear, but for some reason I can barely hear you.
I wonder if I can turn up my microphone. Let me see.
I don't know if Mark is having the same issue or not, but
I was hearing her until you said that. And then I'm very suggestible, so her volume dropped way down.
I've been
Can you
learning hypnosis, Mark. So
Wow. All right. We can do dual things together.
Yeah, hypnosis is amazing. Can you hear me now? Is it better or worse?
it's about the same.
Okay, well, let me try this and get my earbuds out and see if it's better this way. How
Oh,
about
much
now?
better.
Can you hear me now?
Really
Loud and clear.
Loud and
bad
clear?
echo. Super echo.
But we have an echo, yes.
You have an
Your
echo.
radio.
That's crazy
Okay,
because I don't know where the echo would come from.
speaker.
My
Yeah,
speaker.
your computer microphone is picking up your speaker.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, I
gonna
might
mute.
have to go back to the earphones.
I will be off air for a little bit. Not off air, but I've got to make this phone call. I'll do your technical dance.
So where are you hanging out from, Robert?
Oh,
I know where you're hanging out from, but everyone else doesn't know.
I am hanging out from sunny San Diego, California, and a little town called Lucadia in the beautiful North County coastal area of San Diego. And I'm drinking Isagenix fruit. It's fruit dehydrated, and you put it in water, and you get all your multivitamins and minerals and all that fun stuff right here.
Awesome. And I'm drinking water. Just to remind you, I'm drinking water, my Tesla
San
water.
Diego, California, and
We do have a
town called
feedback.
Lucadia in the beautiful North County coastal area
Is
of
that
San
does
Diego.
somebody did somebody
That's
come
coming from
in? Is
Cameron.
Cameron? Can you turn
Isagenix
off your
fruit. It's fruit
let's see, can you
dehydrated,
turn
and
off the
put it in water,
video
and you get
that's
all your
playing on the event page while
multivitamins,
you're on the
minerals, and all that fun
inside?
stuff
Because we
right
can
here.
hear the feedback from that. I'll mute you. There you go. I've got them muted. So this is one of the things I love about Hangouts is that we can sort of control things and sort of not. We had video bombers the last time. It was really funny. We had people coming in from who knows where. Do you remember that, Mark? A couple weeks ago. You're having a hard time hearing me. Okay, we'll get back to the topic. Can you hear me now, though, Robert? As I put my earphones back in, so there's no feedback. Can you hear me, or is it still too
It's
low?
still quiet, but I can hear you.
Okay, well maybe I'll try yelling louder. See if that helps at all. Yeah, oh gosh, we're going to talk about masterminding this week, and you are an expert on masterminding, and I am glad that you're here this week because I'll probably have some great discussions with you about masterminding. One of the things that, and we're in this hangout, we're talking about masterminding as a way to build your empire, but there's so many other purposes for masterminding. It's not necessary, and it's not always used to build an empire. You can use a mastermind to support a nonprofit, to support your community. You can use a nonprofit or a mastermind group within your family, which I think is one of the most important ways to use a mastermind group, is to form a mastermind partnership with your spouse. To me, that's really one of the only ways to create that harmony in a marriage. So that's my opinion and my thoughts on that. So, what are some of the ways that you guys use mastermind groups? Are you using them now? What do you think about them? And what's the purpose? What's the purpose of you being in a mastermind group, or of just in general being in a mastermind group? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
And
Is that you,
each of
Mark?
it, that is me. I just got back in. I just unmuted. What is the purpose of a mastermind group, and why am I here, or
Right,
why would I be in one?
right.
Oh, the traditional definition by Napoleon Hill is whenever two or more minds are joined and blended together in a spirit of perfect harmony, there is born of that alliance of power, and this alliance is called the Mastermind Alliance. It takes place anywhere there's a harmony of mind and purpose and spirit, whether it's in a marriage, company, a group, or a specific group that's deliberately conscious of that fact and leveraging that fact, and indeed wants to achieve that purpose, to create something bigger than one's own mind, and to tap into a much greater source. I have been doing them since 1977, and at that time it was inspired by Chapter 13 in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill's classic. My closest friend came to me and handed me a tape by Mark Victor Hansen on how to start a mastermind alliance, invited me to do so, and asked me to give him my answer in about 2 days. I said, I don't need that long. And each of us went out and got another person, and we started from there. We had a successful mastermind for, 2+ years. We actually spun off one or two other mastermind groups and counseled them and taught them how to do it. We met religiously, pardon the pun, every Friday morning at a famous delicatessen in West LA, and sat next to tables away from everybody from Mel Brooks to Alan Alda, and held hands under the table and meditated and said affirmations. And our purpose was to refer each other business. And so that was our main focus. That was one of the major reasons I've ever gotten involved in masterminds, is the support, the encouragement, but also the specific practical purpose of referring business to each other. And there have been many stories since then, but that's enough. That's Mark's mastermind origin story, like a comic book thing.
Awesome. I love it.
I found them incredibly enriching, and the friendships and connections have endured for many years. I would say one thing, that masterminds tend to grow and then they dissolve, many of them, and you go to the next level, so to speak. And people, and that's a part of the process. It's a good part. It doesn't have to be anchored in concrete for years.
Right. Yeah. Good. I love your thoughts, and definitely the stories of how, like your purpose of the mastermind group is was specifically to gain referrals for businesses, and that is the purpose of a lot of business networking groups, is to refer people businesses. Some of those can be set up like mastermind groups. Some of them are definitely not. But I will move from you on to Robert, because I know he has some thoughts on this as well. Hi, Robert.
You know I'm always going to chime in, right? No, and I think you guys have covered a lot of it. To me, the real value of a mastermind group is based on the principle that we can achieve more with the help and support of others than we can on our own. So that basic principle that I think few people would argue with is really at the core of it. I love how, Dawn, you mentioned that there's a variety of different formats, that a mastermind can show up between a husband and a wife, and a family and a business, and in a health environment. We see people masterminding to get themselves on track with health and wellness. So it really can be in any number of forms, and I totally agree with you that a true mastermind between a husband and wife or relationship partners can really be a very powerful resource. And Napoleon Hill certainly agreed with that. Mark was talking about, you both actually mentioned Napoleon Hill as the source of all this conversation, and I would totally agree. That's where I first was introduced to the idea of masterminding, was in Think and Grow Rich. And then Mark was also talking about a group of people who met in person, and in my experience, there's a lot of ways to do masterminding. This Hangout technology creates a really amazing opportunity to be able to do a little bit more than you can on a phone call, because there's something about being able to see each other on video that adds a component to it. But people meet by phone. They meet using Hangouts or Skype or whatever it might be. And then I think, again, Mark touched on this, the real powerful groups, the most powerful groups in my experience, are the ones that are somehow, some way able to figure out how to get together in person. Because when you put a group of like-minded and supportive and positive and encouraging and experienced people in the same room, to me, that's where the real magic happens. And finally, I would just throw in a quick little plug. I do agree with Mark that mastermind groups have a tendency to kind of, thrive for a period of time and then kind of go their separate ways. But I've been facilitating mastermind groups for years, and I do know that facilitated groups have a tendency to last much longer and perform on a higher level than groups that are not facilitated. If you do find somebody who knows what they're doing and facilitates the group effectively, you end up with more variety, you end up with people who are being held accountable, you end up with the proven structure being put in place and kept in place, and it really does work much, much better. So, I think if people are looking for a group, to look for a facilitated group is something to definitely keep in mind if you're really serious about masterminding, especially for business.
Wow. Excellent. Cameron, what's your experience with mastermind groups? And I'm so glad to see you live on the camera.
I don't have any experience with mastermind groups. I had an interest in wanting because of the benefits of mastermind group, and that's I realized that as a business owner, I can't see everything about a business, and so it allows me to have one of the benefits of other people's perspective, and also their experience and skill is input in my business.
Yeah. I'll tell you a quick story about me when I started Mastermind Group. I'm like all of you. I've started out reading Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. I have got a copy back there, and I'm now just looking at Sharon Lecter's new book, Think and Grow Rich for Women. And one of the things that, when I read that idea of masterminding, I thought I was coming from a very, 20-year-old go-getter type of mentality, wanting to conquer the world. And I really thought the purpose of a mastermind group was to support me. That was the whole reason. I had to find a mastermind group so I could amass other people's knowledge and I could use it for my benefit. That was it. And I was so young that I didn't know that I had something to give in return. And, many years later, I came to understand that the more you give a mastermind group, the more value and the more the mastermind works. And it's just a different perspective. But when I shifted from, using a mastermind group to get the information or to find out what other people knew that I didn't know, to being somebody who had something to give, whether or not it was just an idea, support of the other members, doing that referral thing, referring, other people to their business. That's when things kind of shifted for me, and I realized, oh gosh, this is really not about me getting anything, having a mastermind group. It's really about learning to utilize my mind, the mind, in a way that supports the group individually and collectively. Anyway, so that was my big shift, and I can't tell you when it happened, but it happened slowly over time, and then little bits in big chunks, like realizing that being in mastermind groups where there were people that knew a lot more than me and still valued my insight and my opinion and my thoughts. So I thought that that's kind of something to throw out there. If you're hesitant to join a mastermind group or to be in one because you think you're just a novice, and you might not have anything to give, because it really is about giving, understand that because you are you and you are willing to be in this mastermind group, that you have so much to give that you're not even aware of. Your value kind of comes out of that interaction with the mastermind group. I think that's what I'm kind of pointing out there. So Cameron, you're right on target there, being able to see it. And I'm sure you have tons to give a mastermind group. So go ahead.
Well, Dawn, I just want to reiterate what you said, and one of the things that I share with groups when they're first starting is to make sure that they really see it from that perspective. And to me, it's just like a simple math problem. If the four of us gather today in a mastermind format and all of us show up with the intention of giving, we all show up with the intention of supporting each other in whatever ways we can, then everyone's needs end up getting met. I mean, we see it happen over and over again. And the opposite is true. If all of us show up and we're only concerned about what we're going to get, if we're focused on what we need, then arguably nobody's needs get met, because while you're talking about what you need help with, all I'm thinking about is what I need help with, and nobody's needs get met. So part of the real magic is encouraging people and really insisting that you have people in your group that show up with that frame of mind that you're talking about, where they're focused on what they can give and allowing the receiving to happen. And that's exactly the way it works. I always said with my groups, I wanted people who were accomplished. I want to surround myself with people who have a lot to offer the group, but also people who are open-minded. And the degree to which people are willing to show up, and they are really brilliant and talented and experienced, and all that is great, but also their willingness to be generous and giving and supportive. Otherwise, the group just doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree also.
So I had a couple other things that I wanted to talk about. Is why would you want to join a mastermind group? I mean, for somebody who's just out there kind of watching, kind of feeling like they may or may not understand what a mastermind group is, what are the biggest motivators for people, for you and yourself, to join a mastermind group, or for you to start a mastermind group? It doesn't matter, but what's the biggest motivator to really want to jump right in and make the decision that masterminding is the thing that's going to help you, or maybe not? But what's the biggest factor? And for you personally, all of us on the Hangout, what is our motivation for being in a mastermind group, pursuing one, or hosting our own? Anyone?
Okay.
Mark.
The noisemaker. For me, it's the support, the reassurance, the encouragement, and the great feeling of having ideas pop into my head for other people and for myself. A little bit beyond just normal brainstorming, because of the the real supportive factor. It takes it to another level emotionally and spiritually. That motivates me to come.
Yeah. What about you, Robert?
Well, I think it's funny that you're asking this question right after we talked about how important it is to show up about, giving, and then we zero in and we go back. And it's a reality. People join a group because they do expect to get a particular benefit from it. And at the same time, we keep that focus on the giving side. But for me, I think that the real benefit, it goes back to that idea of I can accomplish more when I'm surrounded by supportive people. I can do more as part of a group than I can on my own, being part of a team. And also, for me as an entrepreneur, and I find that entrepreneurs and leaders are really the ones who are most drawn to masterminding in a business sense. It's a very lonely life sometimes. It's to be at the top and to be making decisions and to ultimately be responsible for your business or even your team within a company is kind of a lonely position, and there's something really powerful and really valuable about having a mastermind group of like-minded people who are in similar situations, people who can understand what I'm going through and be able to share the challenges and the issues that I'm faced with and get feedback and support. And in some ways, I think a huge part of the value just comes in knowing that I'm not alone, knowing that other people are going through the same things that I'm going through. So to me, that's a huge part of the benefit of being part of a really good mastermind group.
For myself, what I really enjoy or looking forward to from a mastermind is that I really enjoy being helpful more than anything else. I know you mentioned before about that you mentioned about that how it's important as far as to be able to give also and not just looking as far as what you can get from it. I've always been the type of person that actually looks for how much I can give and how much I can be helpful more than what I can actually receive.
I want Cameron in my mastermind.
Yeah, ditto. I want the echoes.
Cameron, what do you do?
They're gone.
I do as far as internet marketing, I do a lot of search engine optimization as far as connecting different social media and especially what plugins as far as they can help optimize and make it more efficient. As a matter of fact, on today I discovered that Pinterest now offers a separate business page, and it's very much like Google Plus in regards to when you add the address, that it allows it to show up on maps now. And so anytime a search goes on and as a local business, it could show up on the map section for Pinterest also, and not just Google or having a Google My Business account.
Yeah.
And that's the SEO tip of the day.
SEO tip.
Or,
Do we have Dawn back?
SEO.
Can you hear me better now with this mic? Or not?
I can hear you with no echoes. I can hear everybody else with no echo.
Can you hear me clearly, though?
Just then I did. Uh-oh.
I don't know if it's just me, but you kind of sound like you're underwater still, Dawn. I mean, I can hear you clearly. It's just your volume is much lower than everyone else's.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure what that's about, so.
Maybe the mic might be in the earphone. Yeah.
How about now? Is this better?
Better?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I had a different setting on my
Yay,
on my Hangout, so maybe.
We have all of you! Yay!
Yay!
Power of the mastermind.
Oh.
Ooh.
There's sometimes I think this is a kind of a good question to pose, and I apologize if you guys talked about it when I was away trying to find my other microphone here, but what happens when you're in transition? Because I've been doing a lot of my own, I don't know, like personal spiritual growth. I kind of feel like I've been in my own little metamorphosis, like I've been cocooning, and and I have also found, which I've never pursued being in a mastermind group when I've been in this kind of state of mind and body and soul in my business. However, I am in a mastermind group right now, and I'm allowing myself to have this uncertainty about where I'm going, and the group that I'm with is really supporting me in that uncertainty about what, like the new direction, or if it is a new direction or if it's not, but supporting me and keeping me going and keeping me above water, even though I may not know what everything's looking like. So when you don't have a goal, is that a good time? So this is a question. So like, when you don't have a goal, is that still a good time to be in a mastermind group? The question, the answers. Anyone?
Well, my opinion is whatever you're working on, I mean, and even if you don't have a specific measurable business sales revenue kind of goal, you can still get support from a mastermind group. My groups, I always ask people to do two things before they join a meeting or a call, and that is to ask themselves what's new and good, what's working, what's a win, a victory, a success, and what's an issue or situation that you'd like to get some feedback on. And even if you're not in that real striving, goal-achieving kind of mode, I think we all have issues and situations in our lives that we could benefit from getting feedback on. And I also think what you shared about kind of being in that deeply spiritual place and kind of being open to whatever's going to show up in your life, and again, it goes all the way back to Napoleon Hill. The mastermind is not just about tapping into the network of the other people in your group. It's about tapping into a very spiritual energy. It's not a religious thing, but it's tapping into the source of ideas. And we can debate all day about what the source of an idea is, where does it come from, but it's not in my head. It's coming from something bigger than that. And when I'm in a group of people who all are accessing that larger source, it just magnifies, in my experience, in huge, huge ways. So to me, that's a perfect time to be in a mastermind, unless you're living in a cave in India and just meditating 24 hours a day. If you're, wanting to accomplish anything, even if it's wanting to accomplish more of that sense of just, an inner peace and a presence and an open-mindedness, you can get help on that from people in your mastermind.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, and I see that you're going to have to leave, so great having you here, and I'm so glad that you stopped by for the whole half an hour that you were with us. But I agree. I'm finding the support of my mastermind group being more than what I would have expected, and I'm also finding that I'm being more open to sharing with them the things that I probably would not share if I were more goal oriented. So I'm going deeper in myself, and I think that that's really an interesting place for me personally. And yeah, so the one thing that I was going to go ahead.
Left. I was just going to do a plug for him. Look.
Oh, yeah.
Masterminding for Non-Gurus. I'm the Masterminding for Non-Gurus journal. But he's gone, so I'm going to put these away. He doesn't. I was even going to sing his fight song.
Oh, awesome. We'll have to do it next time.
Yet, so that's a good thing.
We'll have to do it next time.
Energy.
And I was hoping that Robert would talk about, because we talked about personally, he and I talked about the difference between masterminding and the mastermind. Yes. And I wanted to talk about that on, like today on this Hangout, because from my perspective and how in the question came up from Robert, how do you spell the mastermind, or how do you spell mastermind? Is it all one word or two separate words? And Napoleon Hill talked about it, and he wrote in Think and Grow Rich that it was two words, that mastermind. And when I read Napoleon Hill talking about the mastermind, I understand that he's talking about the mind, the mastermind, not a group of people getting together to create a mastermind environment, or to create to do masterminding, which is to me one word, and that's you know, it's a verb. You know, masterminding is an action word. We're doing it now. We're sharing our experiences with masterminding. We're coming together. We're exploring a deeper understanding of what masterminding means and what it is. Hi, Frank.
Thank you.
Hello.
And so when I think, this is me personally, in my opinion, and it can be refuted by anybody because it's just my point of view. And my point of view is that the mastermind is 2 words, mastermind. And that means that word is tapping into infinite intelligence and tapping into universal mind. So when I think of mastermind in 2 words, I think of you know, tapping into universal knowledge, that which we have, you know, access to, and our minds can connect to very easily, but it's more, we can do it when we are masterminding with others much more easily. So we have that power of the mastermind that we're hooking into. The battery, sort of like to make that connection, is the mastermind, the group of people that are actually together. So the humans, the humans are creating and doing that through masterminding. Then that's just my thoughts and and it's semantics, it's, you know, wording, but when you look at both words written down, most people will spell mastermind as 1 word. Robert likes, I think he had mentioned that he uses the 2, mastermind, and I know Napoleon Hill did as well. But like I said, I like to use masterminding as 1 word, and then the mastermind as 2, just to give it reference as in the universal mind. So that's my thoughts.
I had a 3rd level to it.
Awesome. Go ahead.
Finished. Sometimes the transitions are awkward. I'm still learning the Google Hangout, wait a couple of breaths, and then jump in. We're good?
Yeah.
Okay. I produced and hosted an 8-year run of a show called The Mastermind Hour. And the 3rd level was join a mastermind alliance with the purpose of mastering your mind. So we used the mastermind. We had masterminding, and then one of the focuses of that show was on mastering your individual mind by having the support of others who were like-minded and intent on achieving that goal. So I actually taught self-hypnosis on the air for years and guided imagery.
Nice.
But we were all doing it together all over the city, and there was quite a bit of energy.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's just suggestive, knowing that other people were doing it, I'll take it. I'm convinced it was much more than that, but that's my opinion, and I'm welcome to it as a legend in my own mind. Others feel the same way. So there is that possibility. Also, in my first mastermind, we definitely not only said affirmations, but almost did an invocation at the beginning of each one, and definitely focused on sharing energy and helping each one of us master our minds. And I think you can't separate the individual from the whole. In forming a mastermind, you're also going to be mastering your mind. Plus choosing who's in your mastermind or having a mastermind of people who are aligned in a powerful way has a tremendous influence on you in ways that are subtle, let's say.
Yeah.
I think there's a statement you're kind of the amalgam of your 5 closest friends, or you're very much influenced by that. So choose those friends really wisely. I think the mastermind kind of jolts that process, and because it's if it's well run, it's free from judgment and free from the normal, as much social games as possible. It has an accelerated effect on people. Provided that, when we go back with Cameron, you bring that giving mode to it, but you're there to really fully support the others, and just knowing that others coming in that mode will support you without having to, beg for it, ask for it, maneuver for it, or any of those things.
Yeah, I agree. And funny you mentioned that the purpose of the Mastermind group. I'm going to grab my book.
Yes,
because
please.
you don't have my book, and I'm going to send you a copy of my book.
Just so I can hold it up on the air in Google Hangouts.
Yes, hold it up on. But this book is called The Ultimate Guide to Developing the Mind, and each one of the chapters in here is a chapter on developing the mind, each one of the mental faculties. So it goes through reason, imagination, memory, intuition, will, and perception. And the very last chapter in the book is the mastermind. Well, the second to last chapter is the mastermind. And what we did, this is a book that I wrote with one of my mastermind groups, that our purpose to get together was simply to take the faculties and create a deeper understanding of each one of the mental faculties as Bob Proctor taught them to us, and we really went very deep. And in our understanding, the interesting thing was in our understanding of going into the deep dive of each one of the faculties, we discovered that each one of us was a master at one of the faculties. We had a guy who was, his ability to reason and use logic and to get to the why of things and the why people take action was really profound. We had another girl who was writing in Bulgaria, and her understanding of perception was profound and deep, where she could write, volumes about just the idea of perception. And another girl wrote on imagination and one on memory. And I ended up writing the chapters on intuition and will, and it was just an interesting interesting idea that we realized that together as a mastermind group, when we came together, we were using all of our faculties together, and in a way that we could not have done individually. So that's the plug to my book and to using and accessing the mind, like you said, Mark. I think that was just really right on the money.
And a perfect segue to 7 Keys to Freedom.
Yeah, and a perfect segue.
My place has been called the Mind Skills Center and I added for hypnotherapy much later because it was in association with Dr. Serge King, who really did teach all those other things. And I added many different lecturers and presenters on areas that I don't feel is deeply skilled. My thing is hypnotherapy, suggestion, and behavior modification. And there are others who really dive deep into the other areas. So that was kind of refreshing to hear that you used a mastermind group to write the book rather than attempt to do it yourself. Kind of cool.
Right. And even the chapters that I wrote, even within the chapters that I wrote, I got some information from them on how they use their, for will, for instance. But it was very clear that as we were going through this, that some of us had access to deeper knowledge about one of the faculties as opposed to the others, and it was sort of like the surrendering of what we thought we knew about things to a higher purpose just came out through the whole book. It was just a phenomenal experience of thinking that we knew something about memory, and then having the memory expert who actually she had lots of PhD in educational psychology and understood the mind in a deeper way than what we all could tap into. But her surrendering to her knowledge and her spiritual knowledge, because all of it goes into, there's so many levels that we exist on, like the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual, and we just got into it all in the book, and it was a very fun experiment in sharing the knowledge, which is what we do here on the Hangout. So I love it. Yeah. And do you still have, Mark, do you still have your center? Is that still a part of your work?
Oh yeah, yeah. And 4:30 this afternoon, the next client will be coming in. The center is actually hosting two women through couch surfing this evening. That's why I had to mute the microphone at the beginning. That and the maids just showed up and took a bunch of stuff out of the room. Um, they contacted me through couchsurfing.org yesterday, which, if you guys don't know, is a really fascinating way of being in tune with the rest of the world. Um, Couchsurfing is a website that connects people who would like to stay at each other's homes throughout the world. And I won't go into their mission and all that, but these two women are walking the entire state of California. One is a social worker, and both of them are American Sign Language interpreters, and they are walking for love, and people sponsor and for self-image, and it's a very cool thing. They just contacted me yesterday morning through Couchsurfing, and I said, 2 thumbs up, come on over. So they'll be here this evening on their walk, the last third of their walk through Southern California.
Very cool.
And yeah, so that's kind of like sort of my center is open to those kinds of things too. We've had other people who are on enormous treks, like 2 guys from Argentina called Eco Vuelta, raising environmental awareness and going to children every place they stop, singing songs and teaching them about ecology. They're doing 3 laps around Central Latin North America. They're on their 3rd year now. They showed up on bicycles here. So that's not exactly what the Mind Skills Center used to do in the past, but it has expanded greatly.
That's exciting. That's fun. So what do you think about all this, Cameron? You've got all this, newness to masterminding, but and we're kind of going deep dive into masterminding, and then like talking about the mind, and what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Well, I've had some ideas come to mind. One of the things came to mind when you were asking your question a few minutes ago. What came to mind was about when while driving, I've driven through the fog, and sometimes the fog has been real thick. I didn't necessarily want to stop, but because of the thickness of the fog, I would pull over. And so when you're talking about as far as the uncertainty, or that's how it comes to me as far as with, like being in a foggy situation, and sometimes it's necessary to pull over and stop. Well, to pull over. And it's not necessarily stopping completely or seizing. It's just a matter of taking a break, and then and during that time, even in my own experience, I've had moments like that, and I've taken that time as far as to relax, to meditate, and as far as to get clarity, because maybe I've just reached as far as the end of my task, completed all my tasks, and so then that lets me know as far as, okay, now it's time to map out the next part. And then while you were talking, Mark, what came to mind is I didn't know if you had ever heard of Google Helpouts. And
No.
whether or not, pardon me?
I gave there's a word in English, and it'll come to me as I'm wasting your time. I gave not exasperated, but a surprise of acclaim. Oh, that's what I said. I went, oh, Google Helpouts. Oh.
Yeah, Google Helpouts is actually a platform for Google where it allows person to actually do to hold paid hangouts, but they're called Helpouts, and they're used for different things as far as people giving lessons on different things, or business consulting, and it's done through Google Helpouts. When you were talking about your book, Dawn, the other thing that came to mind is if you repurpose any of it. In other words, as far as it looked like you had a book and a workbook. I didn't know as far as if you had any video sessions, and whether or not you even maybe consider using a membership site for that would have the videos. And then if you have more than one book and they're related, perhaps you might consider as far as like a beginning, intermediate, and an advanced with different and each level being either a payable level or as far where they would only, a beginner would only have access to the beginning part, intermediate, and so forth and so on. And as far as maybe the as far as the packaging, maybe if they bought all 3 packages, it might be a discount as far as from if they bought just the one. And it will provide a way as far as of continuity also. I was thinking the same thing about what you said, Mark, when you mentioned about the show that you had did. So I didn't know if you had possibly considered or had developed a course with the show. And so with any Google Hangout, you have the video, then you can abstract the audio for a CD, and then have it transcribed. So then you basically got 3 things from one.
When you say transcribe, you mean it
have a Google Hangout written out, so that it becomes a PDF. And
does it happen automatically, or is there what's the process? I mean, when you put it on YouTube, for example, even an MP3 or an audio, it gives an automatic transcript.
Right, but it's broken.
Yes.
And so even that's a help as far as if you're doing it yourself, and then as far as to edit it, and then a compilation of shows, a transcription of shows. Actually, it could be a ebook.
An eagle?
Ebook.
Oh, ebook. Thank you. What a difference a syllable makes. Oh my God. Forgive us. We got so taken by the Google Help Out that I couldn't. I kept seeing a electronic soup kitchen, and it was Google Handout, like that. And since they would have plenty to hand out, I just put in a Mastermind application for the whole group, telepathically, of course. So keep an eye out for that Google Handout from the sky. It'll just be kind of coming down and bringing you all sorts of goodies. Google Help Out. Wow. Yeah, there it is. Look, he's got it. Now we're cranking.
Yeah.
So Google Help Out is different than a Google Hangout. It's a way of structuring it, or a way of offering it for money.
It's a Google Help Out is a way of offering it for money.
Okay.
And it's through Google, but at the same time, one could actually do the same thing themselves by having a paid Google Hangout or paid webinar.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
This makes it easy, and then Google gets a piece of it, or not?
Yeah, Google does get their.
Right.
They get
a taste. Oh, so it's a Google Handout for Google. There, Google's got its handout now. Well, why not?
They don't take very much, though. It's not like it's not a big chunk. And I don't know what it's not like 50% like some of the, the groups are. I have a help out that I just listed on the chat room, in the chat spot. If you click on that, you can see my help out. It's just a business coaching for coaches, business coaching for coaches help out. Okay. And the first one that somebody gets, they can get for free for 30 minutes, and then after that, if they want to, go on. But I'll tell you, you have to promote this just like anything else. You have to you have to promote the help out if you're going to get, get business from it. You have to promote. I mean, people will find it for free. I mean, people will find it, and they will, they'll sign up for the free ones for sure. So I've had just had my first free one last week, so.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was very interesting. It was good, So.
Thank you, Tamara, for the heads up on that.
Yeah. And you can teach anything. It has to be approved through Google, but they like the teaching health and fitness and how-to stuff. Like if you know how to play your ukulele, if you want to teach people how to play, that would be something that people could do a help out with. But it's a really great way to help people like who have skills and don't necessarily know how to get in touch with other people. Like like if you know somebody who wants to get into business and they don't have a market, this is a really great place for them to get started. I think it's an excellent service that Google's having, that they offer.
And going back to that, Actually, I'm thinking we did this here, but since Frank is here, everything's here.
Right.
Frank does a terrific workshop called You Are the Expert. And so if you do a Google Hangout and you're approved to do it, you are now a Google approved expert. And I would add that to every one of my CVs. So Dawn,
yeah.
one more thing to go. You are a Google approved educator. Wow. You teach on Google.
I do. Isn't that funny? I never thought of it that way. And you know, that's something that's so so important to kind of remind everybody, because we do some really cool things that we don't share with people enough. And I've had some just rock star experiences that I don't have on my website right now. They're not organized and, you know, put out there, and I'm sure we all have. I'm sure you have too. You know, you've got some great things going on, but we don't tend to want to do that naturally unless we've got a mastermind group reminding us, right? So thanks for the mastermind tip.
Dawn,
put that on.
Use the expertise credentials. Dawn. It's a voice in your mind, Dawn.
Yeah, I got it.
Not me.
You know why? You know why I think that is, Dawn?
Right.
I think the mastermind comes in really handy for reminding us of things like that, because we as human beings often minimize what it is that we've done and what it is that we do, because once we've done it, we think it's so easy that everybody else knows how to do it already. So it's great to have the mastermind group to just say, oh, yeah, by the way, that does this for you, you know, just so you know. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I love that too, and I love the fact that you talked about how it, you know, minimizes in our mind because we think we've already done it, so we know how to do it. So everybody else obviously knows how to do it too. But yeah, that's great. So what about you, Frank? What's your thoughts on masterminding, and where are you in the process of masterminding? Do you have your reason why you're masterminding? Do you have your mastermind group? Are you looking for, you know, what would you suggest to other people who want to join a mastermind group? We'll just say that, because there's lots of people that are going to watch this eventually, and they're going to want to know, like, why should I get into a mastermind group? What's in it for me, and what's your experience?
Well, I mean, I'm just now starting to really get into masterminding for business purposes. I've been involved in a mastermind for game designers for about a year now, where a bunch of board game designers get together and we talk about you know, the design process and play testing each other's games and just pitching ideas to each other and whatnot. But that's a very different animal. But I can see how business can actually grow from that, and how, depending on your intention, you have to be really intentional with how you select the folks you mastermind with.
Yep. Because
if you all don't have the same goals or similar goals, it's going to come out sooner or later. We actually, I'm not going to mention names or anything, but we've had a few folks in our board game mastermind who we've had to ask to mastermind elsewhere because they were using it strictly for their own stuff, and then as soon as we started talking about how they can help the group, they're like, oh, I got to go. And they would immediately leave. So, yeah, it's really, really important to make sure that you and the group that you're with are all of similar mindset. I think I do quite a bit of in-person masterminding, whether I try to or not. I end up getting folks together after our networking meeting. We all meet for coffee, and next thing you know, we're seriously masterminding. But we're also very specific about who we say, hey, you want to go grab a cup of coffee, you know. But I love this. This group is awesome, by the way. I love the way that this group has the mindset of, hey, we're here to help each other's businesses, and we're here to really help each other grow. And we also all seem to come from the mindset of, I'm here to grow. I'm not here to take. I'm here to gain knowledge. You know, I'm here to pass on what I've learned. So I think that masterminding is absolutely critical, because if you try to go at it completely alone, you're going to miss a lot of great ideas that somebody else who's either A, been there, or B, is thinking along the same wavelength as you is going to be able to throw out, hey, here's a thought for you, or here's a site I use, here's a book I've read, here's an audio series I've listened to, etc., etc.
Yeah, so on, so on. And that's one of the reasons why I started this particular, hangout was because I host mastermind groups. I help people start their mastermind groups, which is a part of helping them create their meaningful offer. Just kind of like put those things together. A meaningful offer can be a mastermind group that people pay to participate in. And but there was like this whole, for me, like just this playful wanting to have conversations about masterminding and wanting to have playful conversations, and not just playful but meaningful conversations about business and openness and hearing what other people have to say, not just being the teacher, right? So for me, that's and yeah, Robin suggested reading Outwitting the Devil last week, and that was just fantastic. That's just an amazing book if you haven't read it. I mean, it just puts things into quick and easy perspective. That we make some crazy stuff up in our minds that does not serve us. And Cameron, you mentioned about the how being in that cocoon state. You kind of touched on it, and it kind of spiraled me into the thought that when I'm in that space, I feel that my purpose is to master my mind. That's really my and connect to source, connect to God, the infinite intelligence. So I'm very happy being in that limbo. I love it. To me, it's just like the most nurturing place to be. But you kind of inspired that thought that. I'm not even sure what you said, but I remember you inspired that thought that right, that's exactly what I'm doing. Is I'm in that space of being, of developing my mind, thoroughly helping myself grow. You also asked about the 7 Keys to Freedom. I actually do have an online. It's like a $97 online program where I turn that into a financial freedom. The whole 7 Keys to Freedom. I turned that into a 7 Keys to Financial Freedom, so you can walk through using your mind in a way that helps you create financial freedom. Well, it was when it first came out, $97. I think it's maybe a little higher than that now, but it's out there. It's on there. It's on my website someplace. So I do have that offer. Not a membership site, but it's an offer. So. Anything else before we wrap this week up? Because I do want to kind of end earlier than what we've been going over. I kind of want to end on time, or on the hour, closer to the hour than normal, because I want to spend some time with my littlest, who is going to be 10, and she's not going to be little anymore. I think when she hits double digits, it's going to be like chaos. She's not going to be my baby anymore. She's going to be, big girl. So. That's my intention for today. Wrapping up early so I can go play. What are your final words or final thoughts on masterminding?
How about if we each share a win from the week? We didn't do that at the beginning, and Robert had mentioned that that's what it usually starts with, one issue and one win. And I think we had the major issue of, why are you here? What does this accomplish? I'll just share 2 quick wins. I got a call Thursday, a referral from a DJ to do a wedding. The minister couldn't come, and he suggested me for the couple, and it was just a great match. I spent about 4 hours researching a thing called the fisherman's knot ceremony, which they want to have, and they're going to tie their hands in the fisherman knot. And I just found it fascinating. So it was way more fun than I thought I'd be having last Friday. The wedding will come up next Sunday. Then this thing with the 2 women coming for love is exciting. And last night we picnicked in the park and met a guy from the UK who's been creating backing tracks for the last 3 years online and sells them all over the world for people to jam with. He gets professional musicians to create these tracks, and then you play with them in the background. And it was fascinating. He's more the musician type, and he eventually hopes he trips over some marketing and business genius. But at the meantime, he's doing deals with Roland and Boss and major things across the world. So it's kind of a very expansive week. Really, really exciting to just be in the ether picking up good vibration.
That's awesome. I got like that elevated feeling of expansion as you were sharing that. So yeah, thank you.
Very cool week.
Yeah, very good. What about you, Frank? What's going on?
Oh, wow, so much. The win for the week was we finally got a rough draft finished for the book, and we're just getting into the second phase of actually getting it really super edited and super tight. Yeah, that's the win for the week. The issue for the week is that I actually I picked up a another job on top of my business. So therefore, that's been quite a challenge because doing a lot of late night shifts now. So trying to balance those two, that's a big issue right now. But we're here anyway. So we're going to keep plugging right along. So yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Cameron, you got wins for the week?
Yes, my big win for the week is today. There's a third party involved with my client, and so got things worked out where I can now this week begin to fully implement my SEO strategy for the used car dealership. Today we I launched their Facebook ad campaign specifically targeting active buyers.
Nice. Good job. Love it when things go together. My big win for the week has been getting out on the water. I love stand-up paddleboarding, and I know this is just, like may seem something very tiny, in the grand scheme of things, but it's so nurturing for me to be on the water and doing stand-up paddleboarding and doing yoga at the same time. To me, it's a big win because I'm doing it consistently. It feels good, and it's really nurturing for me. So I'm happy to have found a class that can support my desire to get on the water in that way. So it's a big win. And lots of other cool stuff too. Abundance is definitely all there is, and you just have to, and not to say that anybody has to do anything, but when you just tune into the abundance that you really want to see, because there's abundance of negativity and there's abundance of positivity. When you really tune into the abundance that you want to experience, it shows up, and that's just been my case this week. It's just been phenomenal. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. Final thoughts.
Yoga, windsurfing, paddle boating, what?
Paddle.
Holy moly. Talk about multitasking.
I just like yoga on the paddle board.
Oh, okay, yoga paddleboard, yes.
Stand-up paddleboarding.
Okay, I would like a video demonstration at the beginning of next Mastermind group. Just, a little Vine or something like that we can enjoy.
There's somewhere out there in the ethers, there is a video actually of me falling in because the instructor has a little camera on the front of her board, and she was focused right on me the moment that I took a deep dive, but she hasn't, she hasn't gotten it out of her video yet. The moment she does, I promise I'll share it with you.
Wow, now that's really acting out your metaphors.
Yeah.
Deep dive? Nice.
Deep dive. Anyways, great to have you guys with me this week. I so appreciate you. I really, really appreciate you being here, masterminding with me every week, and new faces, and just showing up and being a part of this, participating and sharing your goodness. It's awesome. So thank you.
There it goes. Okay, yeah, I already thank you, Cameron, for putting up your website again, because I tried and we were missing somebody. Now we got it. Okay, so everybody look at the chat if you want to see Cameron's website. And also his Google Plus and business page, his My Business page are much more developed than this. So for a full look at Cameron, who is, I think, the first SEO person I've ever met that I trust. Seriously. It's always like snake oil. It's like, hey, come on down, and for $39.50, I'll get you on the front page of Google, guaranteed. Yeah, give me a break, would you? Come on. Absolutely. And, it takes about 4 months, and if you just invest half your life savings, You'll be a huge hit on the internet. Yeah. Thanks. And how long have you been doing this? Oh, I've been in this boiler room in Las Vegas now for 2 weeks. And what is the secret sauce you're going to use to get me up on the front page of Google? Well, I'd have to talk to the technical people about that. Yeah, you have a good talk with the technical people while I go finish my work. Thank you for calling. Click. I just intuitively, like, I want to throw away all my desire to do due diligence and go, Cameron, he's the guy. I mean, it's just an instinctive sense of trust. So very cool. You inspired me. And my kid inspired me, I got to say, because you said yoga. She went on a yoga trip to Costa Rica for 5 days. And she sent back on, what is that thing called? The app on Instagram were unbelievable. Just like, oh my. So, yay, Laura. Yay,
Yeah,
yay.
congratulations. That's exciting. And that I feel like a novice to both yoga and paddleboarding, but I'm really enjoying them. But that's some tough stuff.
Share a video and put the caption on that says Google approved expert in her office.
Yeah. All right. Well, I will see you guys next week, next Monday, and until then, have a great time. Bye.
Have a good one.